Hi guys, back at it. This is day 105 in my 1 year daily diary challenge. Thank you guys for popping in and listening. I love to hear your comments, and please hit that subscribe and notification button if you want to be notified when I post my next video. I'm pretty much on a daily post schedule, just keeping up with every day that I record. We're about 14 days behind, so I am kind of a little bit ahead of recording these, but I am so excited to bring this to you and to see how much growth can happen in a year. So let's get into it. Day 105. So today is a really chill day. I don't have really anything on the schedule except I had signed up for a breathwork and sound bowl experience. Super excited, super excited. So my love and I had this big conversation about, this misunderstanding that happened and how it kind of blew up a little bit and how it could have been resolved very easily with just correcting wording. And well, that's great because things can be corrected very easily. I do feel that there was a necessity to it, that a lot of things were being held on to on both sides of our, we were all both holding on to things that we weren't really saying. So having this come up kind of opened that gate to allow us to express what we were holding on to so that we can push through and move forward and grow individually and together. So I do think, as uncomfortable as it was in the moment, it is so much better now. We are super connected and definitely had a really great morning together. And I am just getting ready to go to this sound bath and breath work. It's really interesting when big things happen, I tend to get migraines. So I feel like when an expansion or when a big piece of growth is coming, I tend to get physically pained, and it's mostly migraines. So it's like my physical body and my, every book and every person who explains it says it differently, but it's like the Labrador brain, the lizard brain, the monkey brain, this brain that just is like trying to keep you in old patterns, it just responds in a headache for me. So I pushed through the headache. I was like, I'm gonna go anyway, even though I have this headache. But I had to pack my bag of overnight stuff just to hang out with my love because I'm doing a podcast appearance with him talking about the pop-up coffee at the big event, the weekend that's coming up. So just because the podcast is late and it's kind of a drive away from my house, so I typically don't drive home at that hour. And it's nice to spend more time with him, especially now we're on this page of resolution and change, and we're, I wouldn't say back to normal because nothing has really been normal with us, but we're back to being in a good space. So I got all the things kind of like cleaned up from the weekend, from the pop-ups that I had, reset, and got my bag packed, got ready to go in my comfy clothes with all of my things that I needed for this breathwork session. And when I got there, it was a gorgeous space, like the mood lighting. Everybody was setting up their mats and their blankets and pillows and journals and whatnot. So this was my first experience, and I didn't really know what I was getting into. I had no expectations. So I just kind of like set up my stuff the way that everybody else was setting up and the way that they suggested. And I got myself, like a little bit of hydrated, put my chapstick on, sat in the circle. They explained like how it was going to go, what you could experience, what people have experienced before. Be cautious of, your person who's kind of like next to you. And They explained, in great detail things that could happen, responses, reactions that have happened. They talked about how we were going to do the breath. We did an initial grounding session before actually starting, which was cool. And you could tell that the room was kind of very quiet and closed. And after the explanations, we all, laid down on our mats and everybody got snugly down into there. And this was like an eyes closed, so everybody had eye masks. And we started to do the collective breath with the music and the sound. And it was really crazy because I thought it was going to take me a long time to enter in. And it did take me very long to start feeling something. And it was crazy. I felt tingly. I felt a rush of sadness and emotion. And I was just like crying. And I think in my 100 days, I explained that I typically release emotion and fear through body shaking. Like I'm just shaking, like I'm freezing cold, like I'm standing in a walk-in freezer. And so I was like shaking, and that's like releasing the energy, and I was crying, but I wasn't like, I didn't have anything specific in my mind, so I didn't know really what I was releasing. And then I started having all these tingly sensations, and then the tingling got even more, and it felt like there was just this power surge through my body, like I was a conduit, like, it just like the connections were made and the power was flowing. And I've been really trying to get in touch with, or in tune with, my Reiki guides, and I still have not connected on like a personal level with them, but I do know that there are multiple, because I felt hands on my head and I felt hands holding my hands. And they did explain in the beginning that the instructors, the people facilitating, would not be physically touching you unless you raised your hand and you verbalized that you wanted them to connect physically, like hold your hand or put a hand on your back or something. If you needed some support physically, that they would be okay with that. I did not, so I know that it wasn't them and that they wouldn't have stepped in and just touched me randomly without asking or having permission. So that was really cool. But I had this like power surge through my body, and I had these hands on me, and I had all of these very empowering statements kind of going through my head, like I'm receiving my power that belongs to me. And it was just like, on and on and on. I'm definitely excited to see the growth and the future things that come from this too. But so I had that tingling and powerful, and felt my guides and felt very strong and empowered, and all these things that were going through my mind. I had another emotional surge, and then another powerful surge. And then I just remember the sound bath starting, and I went into this restorative trance where I wasn't sleeping, but I felt like I was asleep, but I was very much aware of everything around me, but it literally, like, nothing was going through my head. And then it was like it was over, and it went so fast, but it was a long, like 3 hours, a 3-hour session. Well, not all the 3 hours were of doing the thing, because we did take a good chunk of time to like discuss at the end, but it was crazy. Like, it didn't feel like it was that long. It was such an amazing thing to happen. And I did have a few images pop up of stuff that I was trying to process through, but for the most part, it was just bliss. There was nothing connected to any of these releases or the power. It was just amazing. And so I wrote it all down in my journal, and we sat down in the sharing circle, and I've been working on my voice. I've been working on my expression and my comfort level. And so, some people spoke first because they were ready. And then I think I was like mid-pack, to express and just feel comfortable sharing things with this group of people. They were definitely holding space. They were definitely loving and caring about everything everybody was sharing. So that was great. And I got to connect with all the people, the teachers. They actually host or have a non-denominational spiritual church where they do, like she said, this was her explanation really quickly. They do believe in God, but they are very open in holding space for all of these modalities that help us connect with our higher self and our spirituality. And so I was like, wow, oh my gosh, like these are my people. I found my people through doing this experience that I felt very led to do. And it was like very strong thing, and I just couldn't let it go. So amazing experience, connected with all these people, had great interactions with some of the people who were taking it. It was just amazing. Finished up, packed up, got in the car, headed to my love's house to just, hang out with him before the podcast. So I was super hungry after doing that because it was a long stretch and I didn't really eat heavy before. And we went out to eat, and I explained like what happened to him and shared my experience, and he was very supportive and holding space for me. And we connected, to just on our connection level, and got back to the house and ready for the podcast. And I wasn't nervous. Like, I think doing that experience, it totally released all of these feelings. I was feeling energized and excited. I wasn't feeling nervous at all. And so, I've watched his podcast and I know how people interact, but I was like a little bit quiet because I wasn't sure of the interaction. Like, I don't really like to talk over people or in between people. Like, I don't really understand how to weave my voice through other people's voices. So that is something that I guess, I'll work on if being in the situation like that. So I feel like, my first podcast, my first experience was great. It was fun. And I got to hang out with my love, and we definitely had a great night together. And it was just a lot of fun, and it was so amazing and restorative and just like the perfect day. My migraine actually left at the end of that whole breathwork session. Like, it was gone. So it was definitely something to do with trying to keep me from going and keep me from growing. And I pushed through it, and everything was great after that. So I will wrap it up here. And I thank you guys so much for being present and being able to hold space for me to share. And then also, if you found value or anything resonated with you, or you'd like to, if you're local to North Carolina and you'd like to kind of know where these places are that I'm identifying, I will definitely, share that with you. So drop me a comment, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I will be here for the whole year until July 4th of 2025, and we will see the progression that happens. And I'm so excited for you guys to witness that, as well as me to experience that. I wish and hope that you guys have a most wonderful, amazing, awesome, fabulous, fantastic, beautiful day. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.